Hey everybody, it's Dan, your friendly fishmonger from dansfish.com, and today we're going to look at some Apistogramma borellii, an amazing little dwarf cichlid. Let's take a look. So here are the Apistogramma borellii. I love this fish. They are hardy, they can take a wide range of temperatures and a wide range of water parameters, and we'll talk about all that in a second. We'll start from a front view, and then in a little while we'll switch to an underwater view so you can kind of see what they look like in both scenarios. The reason I like this fish is they come from such a wide range. So they come from the southern part of kind of the tropical part of South America. So where the tropical part meets the temperate part. So this is northern Argentina, southern Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay. Some reports I've read said they come from Bolivia. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not, but they have a wide range towards the south of the range of Apistogramma. I believe they're the most southerly existing Apistogramma in nature, which means they can take warm water and cold water. I have a friend that collected these in Bella Union in Uruguay, and they collected them from habitats that had ice on the edges of the habitat, so they really can take it quite cold. Now that being said, I wouldn't take these fish and put them in a tank that's like 40 degrees when you first get them. Most of the fish that are captive bred are kept in the mid 70s to lower 80s, and the fish are used to that. So if you're going to put them in a tank with cooler temperatures, they're going to need several days to kind of gradually get their temperature lowered. So that's what happens in nature. Spring it warms up, summer it's hot, fall it cools down, winter it's cold. Same kind of thing. But none of those changes are sudden. The water doesn't change temperature super rapidly, so just keep that in mind. But if you have an unheated aquarium in your house, these might be a great fit for you, which is wonderful because most Apistogrammas can't take the cooler temperatures. Also, because of their wide range, they can take a wide range of pH and things like that. So I've read as low as 5 and as high as 8, which is a big range. And as far as hardness, big range on that too. Bottom line is, I've seen these successfully kept and bred in fairly hard water. I've seen them successfully kept and bred in fairly soft water. They are one of the hardiest fish out there just because in nature they're adaptable to a lot of different types of parameters. Now something interesting about this fish is the coloration. So they're highly variable in their coloration, both across collection points, but even in the same population. Even if you go out and collect a bunch of fish from the same area, in a single net you might find several different color patterns. So it's kind of hard to tell where they're from just by looking at the color pattern because they're so variable. But that's kind of cool too, because in one spawn you can get lots of different results in the babies, which keeps it interesting. Something else that's wonderful about this species is they are fairly peaceful for an apisto, with the caveat that when they have fry, the females can go all mama bear and go aggro. So these little females, when they're guarding eggs or fry, they will guard a little territory, and if the tank is too small, they can really beat up the other fish in the tank, including the male. But if you have a larger aquarium, that's not going to be a huge issue. It's maybe a square foot or so is the territory they'll claim, depending on how the decorations are and line of sight blocks are put in and things like that. You can keep several in an aquarium and they'll spar and display for each other, and there won't be too much aggression as long as the tank's big enough and as long as there's plenty of line of sight blocks and decorations for each of them to claim individual little territories. But when you have them in that kind of setup, it's endlessly entertaining because they are going to display for each other constantly, and it's just constant activity, which is what you want in an apisto. You want to see them flaring their fins and dancing. Size-wise, the biggest I've seen these get is about 2.5 inches. I've read that they can get to 3.5. I even read somewhere that they can get to 4, but I'm not sure. I don't think that's what you're going to experience. I think you're going to experience a fish that is 2.5 inches full grown, maybe slightly larger in like a really big male. And the females, of course, stay smaller. The females get that typical bright yellow coloration when they're ready to spawn with the black markings. In fact, in the video, you can see some females, especially from the front view. You can definitely see some fish that are yellowed up a little bit. The males get a very large dorsal fin, and the pelvic fins get these large extensions on them, as well as the anal fin. They're really a gorgeous, gorgeous fish. Something else that folks tell me and that I hear about this fish is that they need to be kept in dim lighting because they're really shy and retiring. I've not found that to be the case. In this video, they're bright light, 2 big LED shop lights above this aquarium. It is bright, and they are out front. Even when I'm up there, they come out and beg for food and things like that. Perhaps it's because there's such a large group of them in there, but in my experience, I haven't found dim lighting to be necessary at all. So bottom line is there's a lot of apistos that are good starter fish. Apisto cockatoides comes to mind. It also has a large range and can take a wide variety of water parameters, although they like it warmer. Apistogramma agassizii comes to mind, Macmasteri, but I think of all of them, this is probably the hardiest, just because temperate species tend to be able to take a wider range of parameters. So if you're starting out with apistos, this would be a great one to get your feet wet. As far as feeding goes, they will accept flakes and pellets. They like frozen foods like brine shrimp, frozen bloodworms, cyclops, frozen mosquito larvae, all that stuff. And they really appreciate live foods. If you put in some baby brine shrimp, they will pick at those, sifting through the sand, hunting for those all day long, and it's endless fun for them. So live foods really help on occasion, just as a treat and to give them some stimulation as their hunting kind of browsing instinct kicks in. In the wild, they're pretty much benthic feeders, so they go around and they browse looking for little critters that are clinging to rocks and sticks and plant leaves and stuff like that. So that kind of mimics that a little bit when you put in a whole bunch of little live food that they have to go around and hunt. These fish are currently about 1 inch in the body, with the tail about 1.25 inches. The biggest ones are maybe 1.5 inches, and so they aren't showing all their, big coloration yet, large finnage, extended fins and all that, but rest assured they're going to develop it, and they're going to be pretty spectacular. And they will make a great centerpiece fish in a community aquarium. They get along with all kinds of peaceful small fish. Lots of tetras, pencilfish, thinking of pseudomugil, small rasboras are great. I've kept them with threadfin rainbows, anything that's small, peaceful, and not too boisterous. Danios, things like that are super active. If you had a big group of that in there, that might stress them out and outcompete them for the food. But barring that, they'll get along pretty well. Again, with the caveat of if they spawn, the female gets pretty aggressive, but all those species tend to be pretty quick and can get away without too much trouble. They don't bother plants either, so in a planted community aquarium, they really shine and add a different element to the tank than your tetras and cories and things like that. Thanks for watching, folks. If you'd like to get some of these fish, they're available at dansfish.com starting October 18th, Friday. And if you like this kind of video, if you would consider subscribing, liking, sharing, or hitting the notification bell, or all 4, that would be fantastic. Until next time, I hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.